Hello, everybody, and welcome back to
Guide to Space podcast.
Now, I'm back with our longtime co-host, Emrullah.
I've been promoted to co-host now. I thought I was just a regularly appearing guest.
Part-time co-host.
Mm-hmm.
So
full-time so far.
So I was able to convince my brother to film a third episode, fortunately. And now we're back on summer break. We're back with another episode. And today, I wanted to talk about a topic that I think would interest both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that something that both of us have experience with a little bit. So I want to talk about astronomy education.
Oh.
And for me, I was first exposed to astronomy in, I think, second grade.
Well, you're fresh out of middle school yourself.
Yeah, but the thing is, my school didn't actually have astronomy lessons in middle school. It's usually the opposite for most schools, but our school decided to combine all like specific subjects into just science, middle school science. So, but
in fact, it is like that for most high schools in Turkey. There is this science class that encompasses your biology, physics, and chemistry, and the curriculum is roughly the same.
Yeah, we went to a private school here in Istanbul, and they have more freedom to hand carve their academic path for students in like elementary school. So we had an astronomy class from second grade to fourth grade.
He had the class. I didn't.
You didn't?
I was there for elementary school. I was there for middle school only, which meant that I never got to take the astronomy class.
No.
And I haven't taken an astronomy class in high school or university so far. So as far as the astronomy education goes, I'm pretty away from it all.
But I mean, you're, I think, interested in the, like, as you said, when should we be exposed? That's like a core part of today's podcast. When should students be exposed or should have an astronomy class?
Yes.
And you also participated in the Breakthrough Challenge. So
I did. Yes.
Yeah, I think
yes.
Breakthrough Junior Challenge. So I think you would be interested in how to make science like accessible to children and students in general. So
not just accessible, because like it is becoming more and more accessible but day by day. What I think we should also be focusing on is making it interesting, because it is like I don't know who I actually heard this from exactly. Perhaps it was from my mother, perhaps it was from an upperclassman. But if you don't like physics, and astronomy is under the umbrella, sure. If you don't like physics, you probably have had a bad physics teacher. Now, this sounds, of course, very biased, but I think there is a considerable amount of truth in this sentence. Yes.
No, I agree completely. But your like first exposure to something, your first impressions of a subject has a really huge impact on how you view it afterwards in life. But I think I think also that like making science interesting is quite an easy task. I think.
Well, it's easy for you to say. You've had your experiments and your you had many opportunities to work one-on-one with teachers. But for many students in Turkey, especially, science is memorizing numbers and tables.
Yeah, and that's maybe we should give an introduction to how this education system works in our country as well. So, as my brother said, we have one science course for entirety of middle school. We have social studies, English and Turkish, and also maths. Those are the 6 subjects.
Yes, and physical education as well.
Yeah, and I listed those because those are also on the LGS, high school entrance exam.
Yeah, there's this national
in 8th
exam
grade.
that it's ultra competitive. It's the only way you get into good high schools in Turkey, or your high school of preference. If you want to go to a school that elects students in any way, there is like a few private exceptions, but mainly like 99% of the time all the schools take solely with your exam score on this single national exam. So it's a very big deal for students, and especially towards like I don't know if you experienced this, but especially towards the end of middle school in Turkey, classes sort of move away from being interesting for the sake of interesting for their material. They sort of become sort of sports that you have to compete with your peers in, which encourages people not to engage with the material any further, but like there's
just to maximize their speed when solving the questions, solving the problems.
So they try to learn all the subjects very fast, as much as it's included on the exam, and only that. And after that,
they just focus on like meta strategies, techniques to improve a few milliseconds.
There is this one sentence that really breaks my heart when I used to hear it from my peers, and I've said it many times myself. When we're in class, I interrupt, or one of my peers interrupts. Terrible thing to do. Says, "Is this going to be on the exam?" Meaning the national exam. It is like the exam has been our motivation for so long. It has shifted our understanding that way.
We've both experienced this. I just had the examination in June.
Yes.
He had it in 2019.
Yes.
And we both went through the process partially. I also applied to some schools in the U.S., so I kind of mixed both. But he typical eighth grade student. From the beginning of 8th grade, or sometimes even earlier, like from the summer of 7th, 6th, depending on their parents sometimes too, just completely focused on this one standardized exam. And even before that, like getting into private middle schools and stuff, are, if not for standardized exams, they're just like this strict GPA method that they use to get you into the schools, and the very few that don't take students in with the standardized exam score, take it with your GPA, which is also just another form of exam, slightly better than one standardized exam, but
and still, like, there could be a lot of debate on whether this system works or
debate. I don't think it works.
Yeah, but like, still, it is like it is the current system, and
definitely the current system. I know some countries like India and China also have
lots of standardized exams, but not to get sidetracked, it's still, I want to mention one last thing about this system. It doesn't mean that students aren't, like, students who do well inevitably, like, as a side benefit, which is also sad, as a side benefit, gets a really good comprehension of all the topics in the exam. Like, they learn the material really well, but only the material, and they aren't encouraged to move through it. So just to get back to our original point, I have to say, if it is in Turkey specifically, I think astronomy education, or any anything that will ignite sparks, like
is
curiosity,
discouraged.
It is discouraged in middle school, which is why I think it is especially important to put it as elective, or like insert it into the curriculum in the science classes in elementary school. Like the first 4 grades are when the students are most relaxed, and when they're able to get the most free exploration of the subjects, like just for liking the subject. There isn't any academic pressure, so I think it's a good time to do so.
Definitely. So I'm also an advocate for exposure to astronomy and topics like this in elementary school, but the real task is not making science interesting, but I think not messing it up.
So, as I was saying, I think elementary school is the ideal time to start nudging children's interest or like students' interests
Yes.
towards any subject, including astronomy. Just the question is, what would you do to make it interesting? You said before that it was a challenge to make it not interesting.
Yeah.
So, would you elaborate on that?
I do think so. And as like our school was like, as I talked about the planetarium, maybe we'll put some pictures on here. I do remember taking a few pictures of it at school. It was like just the community being exposed to these vast worlds beyond the earth is immensely interesting, and I think this like could be proved just by seeing and talking to the students. As I've had experience with this. You came to Boston, in our middle school in 7th grade. So like students were extremely interested in this, but as the grades passed on in like middle school, somewhere along the way, as I said, there was no astronomy class in middle school, and that's like cut off was really damaging to students' interests, and especially when it came to the LGS high school entrance exam preparation process. So I think the best approach is like students should be exposed to a variety of topics, subjects from elementary school. You agree, right?
I do agree, but I think also it's inevitable that as they get older, as they progress through the levels, it's going to be less diverse.
Yes,
Because the subject depth is going to increase, and then that inevitably
yes,
limits what you can put in a year.
yes, but students.
But before we move on, I'm just curious. What you mentioned the planetarium and the like the projected planets and star maps. That was all very interesting. So I think that's what do you say, more hands-on.
Absolutely, more hands-on, like and hands-on, like for some subjects like maths, and like many subjects are like affected by the hands-on aspect to a certain extent, and I think astronomy is the subject where hands-on makes a world of a difference. Like you can't talk about astronomy in like with pen and paper as well as you would in a planetarium environment. It's so important for them to see how big the universe is, how much there is that just our society doesn't put to the spotlight as much. Like we were talking about this earlier, like how geography is like such a well-known concept, and like so many people are like scrutinized for their lack of geography knowledge. But people, when you ask those great geography people, some of them don't even know how many planets there are.
Yeah, it's a great shame, for example, like you know the street interviews, whether you can name all the countries in Asia, but the same people who ridicule you for not being able to do it might not know the like order of planets or like the rough structure of the solar system, which I think is just as important, just as relevant to their like general culture, as they say it, is as your geography knowledge. I definitely agree with that, but I think it's more important to know about like the most immediate astronomy general knowledge than like the.
I think like when it comes to astronomy, like I think that knowing about the immediate or like your closest surroundings is important when it comes to like geography. But when there are like many benefits to knowing what's around you, to knowing where you are, and a benefit for geography is like reflected in your daily life. Your geography knowledge and your knowledge of your surroundings is like reflected in your daily life or like your decisions. But the knowledge of space is, I think, there's a different benefit to that, other than just like usefulness in an everyday sense. It's the real benefit is, I think, just having a greater understanding of the world, which is what science is.
How? What do you mean when you say a greater understanding of the world?
World around us, not Earth.
But still, I can't imagine knowing about neutron stars and like the galaxy movement and all the other astronomical events affecting my understanding of day-to-day life.
I think, like as you said, students should and will get like more specific to subjects and their depth as they grow up and progress academically. But like knowing how neutron stars will affect your daily life, and I know that kind of progresses into tinfoil hat territory, and like how the sun's 1 millimeter spin will somehow show who your soulmate is. But so I think not necessarily like specific events like that, but having a greater understanding of the universe in terms of its scale and in terms of how small Earth is compared to it, just gives you such it's learning for the sake of learning, you know? It's knowing where you are, not necessarily because it will help you like ace a test or make the right decision in your day, but just knowing so much of science comes from having a greater understanding of the world for the sake of doing so. And there are so many discoveries that go as a side effect to that.
Can you name a few side effect discoveries of astronomy?
Side effect discoveries.
I mean, I think of the like lenses and stuff, so I can see now this technology didn't exist.
Lenses, Teflon pans were designed when creating a new material for durable and heat effective for spacecraft. And also, I know you're going to be interested in this one, is transparent toothbraces.
Oh, transparent toothpaste.
Yeah,
Yes, I was thinking of getting Invisalign.
Did you get them?
I haven't got them yet, but yes, tell me by what chain of events did astronomy research create Invisalign?
No. I saw that in the 7th grade. As I said, there's a general science subject in 7th grade.
Yes.
And the first unit of that was astronomy. And in like 7th and 8th, I think there was a gap in 5th and 6th grade, but in 7th and 8th, the first unit was about space. So we had space debris and the discoveries that were made along with space research. And Teflon has a direct correlation, of course, but transparent toothbraces, I think it's the material, making a rigid, transparent material, but also not fragile like glass. I think it's somewhere along that, creating material like that. Maybe it was for like glasses for space stations. You don't want them to be fragile, that could be easily destroyed or affected by other conditions like space debris. So it's probably a materialistic choice or design like that, but I'll be sure to research it after filming and put it somewhere here.
So let's say we've nudged the interest of your average student or like your interested student on astronomy, and they're interested, but let's say their school or their there isn't an astronomy club that they could join. and an elective isn't offered, which is like what first comes to mind, I think. What would you say they could do to further explore their interest in astronomy, like a middle schooler or a high schooler?
A middle schooler. Now, I think a field that's rapidly emerging, and one of I being one of the biggest advocates of that myself, is science education videos and online content.
Oh, it has emerged already, I think.
It has emerged, but it's insanely fast growing. I think you would agree. Like in the past 5 years, like after quarantine, there's been a huge splurge of like science channels content, and with the accessibility of creating content, as we're blessed with too, we're able to, so many other people can share their knowledge with the world and share interesting things with the world, and get their word heard. And I really want to contribute to that with this YouTube channel as well, because it's helped me so much, and I know it helps so many students as well. It's just it's a really low barrier of entry, but a student has to have that push, or has to have that first spark to do research themselves, because it's not given to you when it's online.
Well, let's say this podcast and your other presence online, let's say that's the resource that they have reached now. Would you recommend anything specific?
Absolutely. I love curricula. I love Mark Rober. I've been subscribed to Mark Rober for like 7 years probably, which is like when I was in first, second grade. And it was one of the first channels I was watching on YouTube when I first created my YouTube account. Mark Rober is...
Yeah, he's been here a while.
Mark Rober is has such an incredible channel, and he's been rapidly growing, just reached 70 million subscribers.
Excuse me, did you say 17 or
70?
17 million?
Yes. Oof. And 17 million is incredible, but so well deserved. Mark Rober also has a background in space research, space engineering. He's worked on the Mars rover. A YouTube channel like Mark Rober, curricula, or Veritasium is like, in a 20-minute video, it's like just incredible how much knowledge you can gain. And like that first 20 minutes is where you'll get like 90% of the knowledge about the field, and then you'll spend like
90%. Isn't that being a bit generous? No,
I'm not saying like knowledge in like how many bits necessary to store it. So like not every knowledge is the same in this
not the volume of the knowledge,
yeah,
but
definitely.
you say gist of it you'll get by watching the
so
video.
Like if you spend 100 hours, the amount of knowledge you gain is pretty linear, the volume of knowledge, or what I say. But
yes,
in like the 20-minute Veritasium Mark Rober video, science video you watch, in the first 20-30 minutes you'll get like the most important, the most relevant information, like 90% of that.
So I imagine this makes these sorts of channels a good resource for middle schoolers, for example.
Such a good resource. And I started watching science videos like professionally, I would like to say, in middle school.
Is it because of the time you're spending watching them?
Yeah. You were a witness, I think, in like 2020 during quarantine. During online school, I like 10 hours every day. Science videos, asteroid mining tutorials from curricula, science visualizations. I just spent so much time watching this, and I know it's not like it's a valuable chance, not many people have, but like, and to some point I was probably wasting a lot of time too, because like I was watching all those introductory 10-minute, 20-minute videos, but like the most important knowledge you gain is in a really short amount of time. But when I look back at it, it's definitely like that first channel I subscribed to, that first science channel I subscribed to, and I'll definitely put links in the description on my favorites. I have so many channels. is like changed my life, changed the course of my life. Absolutely. I learned English watching science videos on YouTube, and after like 6th grade, 8th grade, when I spent all that time watching science videos, it's completely nothing is wasted. I think it has completely reflected on what I do today in like with my projects, with my YouTube channel. It's definitely a really good resource. Is I think the number one thing. If as you said, if you don't have electives, if you don't have the chance to pursue it in school, I think one of the best things you can do as a student to explore astronomy is these online resources. And maybe I should do a tier list of these resources as well. Online videos, easily S tier.
Even before like electives and clubs.
I would say so. But like I formed a tier list on like self-learning tools, but electives and clubs is like really is something you're dependent on some school or other.
Yes, but in a tier list of self-learning resources.
In a tier list of self-learning resources.
Okay, then
YouTube videos.
You put YouTube videos in
S
S tier, yes, and then.
And I would say I would go with like a progression as well. So like the thing I said about YouTube videos, like you gain 90% of the knowledge in 20 minutes, 90% of the most important knowledge. So, but like to create something yourself, create something meaningful, you also need that 99%. It's like the graph of tangent, you know? It's like when you...
What a nerdy analogy.
You know, when you, like at 80 degrees, for example, tangent, and when you get to like 89, it's so much bigger.
Yes.
So when you're at 90, it's like you have so much knowledge, but like when you get to 89 or 89.9 and 89.999, it grows so much. It grows exponentially, and tangent in this case is what you can do with that knowledge.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend progressing after YouTube videos, and one great way to do that is with texts. So I have two here. I recently bought these this summer. It's like this two, Introduction to Aerospace Engineering and Spacecraft Systems Engineering, and this book I've completed. This book I've also completed as much as all the chapters I started reading. I've passed like a few chapters because this book is like an encyclopedia of spacecraft systems engineering. It has so much knowledge crammed into it, from like attitude control to more astrophysics related.
But this is
topics.
more into engineering. Do you have any recommendations for astronomy?
No, these are just the two I have right now. I've also ordered cosmology on Amazon, but there was a problem with it. There was a problem that
if you can help it, go to a bookstore.
It was out of stock, I think.
Or buy secondhand from a friend. It's always it's always nice to see their little scribbles and it's like a one-sided conversation, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
You feel unalone while studying the text, and when the text is as dense as likes of these, it's good to have a friend by your side.
Definitely. That's
And also if you could form a reading group, if you're studying a text such as this, forming a reading group with your peers can do wonders, I think. If you can't, there is online forums, but I think trying to work on a text together is one of the best ways to learn. One more advantage of a reading group or making a reading group is that your friends can hold you accountable for it, because it's easy to, when you're self-learning, as Esad is saying,
one of the biggest challenges is testing yourself.
Yeah, testing yourself, or like meeting your goals day to day. I'm not saying you need like meeting your specific day-to-day goals. If you're working together with a friend or two, it could be much more achievable because you're communicating with each other and you're catching up with one another. It's a good way to make progress.
Yeah, that's great insight. And self-learning doesn't have to be limited to yourself.
Oh yes, yeah, definitely.
When we say self-learning, it's like maybe we should update that term.
It's just a form of learning. It's like all learning is self-learning, and you engage with whatever resource that is available to you.
And
sometimes that is a professor, sometimes that is a good old textbook.
A forum, a brother, a classmate, anyone you can share your thoughts with, share your work with will definitely help you testing yourself, and also just getting exposed to new ideas and things you haven't tried out before. And like I bought these 2 books when my brother was trying to convince me to read more books too.
Yes.
So he really helped me to get more reading experience. I read a lot online, but online it's more like short form text.
Yes, and articles.
Like you rarely like read 100 pages more on a single topic online. So I would definitely recommend buying or borrowing textbooks.
Yeah,
books
probably if you have a school library, a public library, the most common texts will be available there, and it's good place to study. If you want your like wonderful space to hold your group study sessions, if you're up for that.
It's absolutely great for getting in depth, but I have to put textbooks in A tier because like YouTube videos, science videos are such a cheat code. And they're super dear to me as well.
That's your opinion.
But textbooks, like they're great, but YouTube videos I think is like reaches such a wide audience, and it's also like 20-minute, because it's like someone is doing much of your work for you that you do with like they've done this before in the case of like popular YouTube channels or people that are really good at their field. They've done so much teaching. And it's not like a school lecture or a periodical thing. They cram so much knowledge into 20 minutes or like 30 minutes or 10 minutes or even shorts, and like short form content are like if you choose carefully, they can be so useful introductions to concepts and like for getting that spark.
Yes, as introductions I think they're useful, but like you can't get exercises, you can't get any testing of your knowledge with the videos. So I think that's a downside. I think like if you're adamant on watching it, on hearing it on a video format, I think you should also try, as Esad's been doing, open courseware, like
really
published courses online, which has best of both worlds: your video lectures, your like animations and interactive sorts, and also the exercises, and also the student forum. So it's like a package for you specifically.
Yeah, so I'll put useful playlists from MIT and playlists and like packages, as you said, that I found very useful, because if you like video as I do so much, you can and need to get to a deeper level lectures and long form content. And by long form I mean like 30 to 100 hours is possible with YouTube and websites today. So yeah, and the next tool, self-learning tool, I'm going to put, I think, a partnership. So like a partnership with a science teacher, a professor. You've kind of touched on this with like students, maybe a group project, but having a mentor. I really haven't done any group projects surrounding astronomy until very recently. In the New York Academy of Sciences, I had a team, but that was my first exposure to a group project surrounding this topic because, as I said, like, finding people really interested in astronomy, astrophysics today in middle school is kind of hard, difficult, at least in Turkey, when so many of my friends and so many of his friends at the time are like using so much of their day preparing for multiple choice tests. But getting a mentor or science teacher is that getting a mentor or science teacher is super beneficial, and getting to partner with them for a project.
And it's just not a single resource; they point you to many.
Yes, definitely. My dear science teacher from middle school, Mr. Shamaz, I've worked with him so much over the years. From 6th grade, we had our first project and my first project, space debris, collecting spacecraft, and it's like incredible how it's progressed over the years. When I look at my first science paper in 6th grade, which it was like a 2D scheme of the spacecraft's 2D design, and now that I progressed into 3D designs, 3D animations, and much longer texts as well, and so much of that my science teacher taught me and helped me with is like, because they've been through this so many times. As much experience as you can get, you should get. And my science teacher has worked with so many students and has helped so many students with this, with making, they will point you to other resources other than themselves and how you can better yourself and your project. But it's also really important to find a science teacher that's really interested in your project, but also like looking forward to work with you. I know not all students have the chance to just have a science teacher so eager to work with you, so eager to create a project with you. But you should definitely reach out. I had the pleasure and comfort of having a teacher by my side for all of middle school, but you should email people, you should email professors in your area or remote, or apply to programs like the New York Academy of Sciences, the Junior Academy, which I've joined, and like science fairs. Science fairs are incredible for testing yourself, even if you've done self-learning for all of your journey. Science fairs are a great way to be exposed to outside testing, whether it be other middle schoolers, elementary schoolers, or like really experienced science teachers. They always point out some other aspect of your project. Like,
great way to pick up feedback.
Like, if an elementary schooler doesn't like your project, then they will usually give some input. They're not scared to do that. And
oh yes, middle schoolers can be very mean.
Yeah, like if they don't like your project, it may be because,
or you, like, for that matter, they don't sugarcoat it.
It may be because of like they'll point out if like your slide is terrible, like your design looks like my banana smoothie that I've got from the canteen. And not
sounds like you got some experience under your belt roasting people's slideshows and projects,
and not so much like an actual spacecraft. So they'll definitely point that out. And but like a more experienced science teacher can point out like in detail, in-depth technical problems, or at least like areas you haven't even explored. Like I know a lot of this myself. I've like taken so many things for granted when I designed my first spacecraft, my space debris collecting spacecraft. It's like it was a net. My science teacher asked me like, how is this thing actually going to open up in space, which led me to designing just the net for like a month straight, which in turn brought me much better spacecraft, and I actually won the science fair this year before graduating. So talk to as many people as you possibly can. It's definitely an eye-opener in your journey. So I'll put science fair right along in the S tier with science videos, and because it's kind of like a duo. You do all the self-studying, you watch the science videos, you get exposed to the content, then you scrabble some things up on your own, then you test it, go out in the wild with all the elementary schoolers, middle schoolers, the various audience that you have at science fairs. So, I think that's it for today's episode.
Thank you very much for having me, and
Absolutely.
thank you very much for
Thank
the
you.
long discussion.
Thank you for being my guest, but I want to end with this. Astronomy definitely has to be a subject. So, any school officials watching this, or any students, hashtag astronomy should be a subject is, I think, the movement I want to spread with this video, because I think it's everyone's fundamental right to get a greater understanding of where they are in the world, even if that doesn't provide a short-term benefit in your daily lives. I think, as we saw in the course of history, these scientific discoveries, or at least the exploration of them without any short-term benefit, has provided immense advancement in civilization. This could be also compared to how, like, flat earthers didn't get like a boost in their daily life operations when they learned that the earth is a sphere and not in fact a plane. But in the long term, I think having a better understanding of your surroundings and the physical world is, in on itself, is an incredible achievement, and I think that's what science is all about. Thank you everybody for watching, and see you soon in another episode of the
Guide to Space podcast.
Thank you everybody. Have a very nice rest of your day. See you.